Max, this is 20.1, but we're still in 2019, so I'm extremely confused as to what the Open is this year.
Hold on, this isn't 20.1? Are we announcing 20.1?
No. One of the things that we want to talk about is just kind of like some things to think about for everyone before the Open and then obviously during the Open, because it's a long time. I mean, 5 weeks is, you're taking over a month out of your year to just focus on these 5 workouts.
10 weeks of this year will have been
exactly.
opens.
Yeah.
It's basically 20% of your life during 2019 is opens.
Yeah. I think the first thing to think about is expecting the unexpected.
Yeah.
So what do you think when we say that?
Well, I think all competitions are, like, you have this imagination about what you're projecting into, like, what it's going to be, whether that's you winning or a workout feeling a certain way, or you watch somebody do a workout, you set a target for yourself, and you have all these expectations going in. So I think part of that is dealing with the expectations that you set for a specific workout or for a specific week not going according to plan. And sometimes I see people actually in the workout get defeated.
Yeah.
Like, you set a plan, this is my goal, this is what I want to do, this is who I want to beat, whatever it is. You go through that, and then halfway into the workout, you realize you're falling off pace, and then people start to, like, quit literally within the workout. And the Open setup, so like 1 in 400,000 people win, or 2 in 400,000 people win. Everyone else is losing.
Yeah.
So it's really just a function of that point of managing your loss and going as fast as you can. And I think if you can expect to be in those situations and it be more painful than you're going to anticipate previous workouts have been, you're going to fall off your paces, you might miss double unders, like all of those things that could potentially happen that maybe don't happen when you're not under pressure, they might happen. So that's one portion of it. The other is the actual workouts, right? Like, we all have thoughts about what the Open should be or what it has been in the past. Like, we base our training models off of what's happened in the past. What happens if this year Glassman decides to take over and completely change the structure? Like, I've been watching the main site workouts that have come in, like today had med ball cleans in it. Would I think that med ball cleans would be a good test of fitness for like a professional athlete? I don't. But if it comes up, the professional athletes that I have that are in this sport are going to have to do it. And the people that have the best mind states about, like, being disappointed about what does come out or what the implications on our sport are for things like that happening, people have to deal with that better. So I think that's kind of what I think of with regards to, like, expect the unexpected.
Yeah, one of the things that I'll note is the best in the sport just figure it out too. I think sometimes when unexpected things happen, we do shut down, like you mentioned. And the reality, though, is you don't see the best shutting down. They just kind of figure the best path forward. So if it's a new movement, or if they get a no rep, or if they trip on a double under, they just kind of calm down and they're like, okay, now how do I get the best score that I can get? And I think that everyone, if they came in with that mindset, would allow them to get better scores, or at least you're not bombing a workout where you have to retest multiple times throughout a weekend.
Yeah, it's a really weird situation because a bad situation under competition can compound itself really fast. If you miss a double under, all right, no big deal. Like, you might lose 4 seconds. Like, maybe some places on the leaderboard if you're top athlete, but for most people, not a big deal. You can make it up in transitions, make it happen. You start it again, and now you miss again. And then you start to get flustered. And then all of a sudden you spent 30 seconds just trying to get 5 double unders. Basically, like, that's the amount of work you've taken in 30 seconds. So I think it really is important to not make a big deal of, like, little missteps or mistakes or things happening or having to take an extra breath somewhere throughout the course of the workout. How to do that, or why the best are able to do that versus the people that aren't as good. Like, you know, if I'm going to be in a pressure situation in CrossFit, I might make a mistake. I don't know why that happens in, like, a non-elite athlete versus somebody else, but I think having the mind state or the expectations that those things could happen, I think will lessen the compounding effect of them happening in the moment.
Yeah, I think that kind of going along this path, and the next thing would be staying the course, because again, it is 5 weeks, it's a long time. So when you have things that are unexpected happen, or you have a bad workout, or you blow up, or everything's going really well week 1 and week 2, and then all of a sudden in week 3, it's like my 2 worst movements show up in the same workout. You got to stay focused on that and then say, like, I signed up for this, right? It's 5 weeks, I'm going to finish it and stay the course.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is, this is a weird sport in that you could get, like, things that are right up your wheelhouse and then things that aren't. It's very few people that just have everything in their wheelhouse, and usually that's like the 20 people that are perennial games athletes year after year after year after year. Everybody else does have some subset of skills that's better than others, and things they want to see come out and other things they don't want to see that come out. But I think you have to realize that it's about the process. Like, it's about the process of getting a workout, seeing a demo, making a plan for yourself, warming up appropriately to do that workout, doing it under pressure and making sure that it counts and you meet the standards, and you video it if you're going to be an athlete that goes to the has to submit it for sanctionals, then going through evaluating that video and repeating it, or if you're a one and done athlete, going through that same process without the repeat. And it's about doing that to your best ability for 5 weeks. And that's really the course. And I don't think most people stay that. They see, they design the workouts for number 1 and 2 to be universally accessible, right? So that gyms can do them, so they're not super hard, or at least they have in the past. So a bunch of people get in, they do that first workout because it's like, oh, I can do this, or I could beat somebody good at this. And then things start to happen over the course of the weeks, and they just, quit the competition, basically.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because one of the things we were talking about before we got on camera was, if you go to last year's leaderboard and just go to page 50 or whatever, you notice that there's wow, there's another 10,000 people that signed up, did week 1, and then half of them fell off after that when week 2 announcement came out. Some did week 1 and 2, and then the rest of them kind of fell off, where it's they never finished, they never stayed the course. And not to make that a big thing, oh, you got to be tough and finish, but I think when you're looking at this sport, when there are multiple tests, the way that you make up ground is just kind of being average sometimes, right? So it's okay to have a bad workout. Obviously, if you want to get in the top 20, everything has to be pretty solid. But for most of us, I want to be in the top 5,000. It's okay to get a workout where you finish 15,000th place, as long as you know that my average needs to be, what was it for you?
It's 10,000,
right? And so over the course of the weeks, you're going to have some good ones, you're going to have some bad ones. It's just averaging out and playing that law of averages as best as you can.
Yeah, it's really funny. I feel like it should be mandatory for any of your scores to count that you finish all the workouts or have some sort of minimum work requirement. I hate that as people do week 1 and you take 15,000th, and then 5,000 of those people just aren't there for the rest of the workouts, but there's no scrubbing of the leaderboard.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah.
So obviously, again, going back to this, we're taking a big chunk out of our training lives and kind of moving into this time where it's we get ramped up on a Thursday night, we see the workout, and then most people are doing it on Friday or Saturday. Some people are recovering and then retesting on Monday. How do you instruct your athletes to kind of go through the next 5 weeks to be able to do their best, but also not get in this chaotic environment of they're so worn down after week 3 or 4 that they can't do it anymore?
Yeah, I think it's just about living your life, and a professional athlete's life doesn't change that much over the course of the Open, right? Every day, Travis or Noah or Will or any of these guys or girls, they get up, they are prioritizing food, training, warming up, and putting their best effort into a workout. So it's basically the same exact thing, except with a little bit more performance pressure on that specific workout. So it definitely is a harder physical quest, but the actual day-to-day life is not really that different for them. They have to review their video. Generally, they're going to watch their training videos in some capacity anyway, because they're posting them to Instagram, or they want to count their reps or see what their positions look like. So it's very similar. I think that the trap that other people fall into is thinking of themselves as that professional athlete during the Open. And while it might be the only competition in CrossFit that I do in a year, or this year I did it twice, there's other things that I have to prioritize. I have to live my normal life, and I think that's what people should focus on. They should still take the time to do the things with their kids or prioritize their work obligations, and I think in doing that, it sets the appropriate performance expectations on them that make the likelihood that they explode in a workout or have some horrible emotional experience around a silly workout, that it lowers that likelihood if people are just living their normal day-to-day lives, eating the way that they would normally eat, fueling themselves appropriately, maybe just doing a little bit more detailed work on that one workout, but not letting it consume 5 weeks of your life. It just doesn't seem worth it to me.
Yeah, for sure. I think just kind of add on to that, one of the things that I've tried to do with my athletes, especially those that aspire to do well in the Open, is that they are training almost the same way.
Yeah.
So that allows them to live their normal lives, that they're preparing the same way for their training sessions. And not to say like there's always going to be a little difference when something else is on the line.
Yeah.
So during those Fridays or Saturdays when people are doing the open workouts, they're going to go a little bit harder. It's going to hurt a little bit more because they're pushing to a different level.
Yeah.
But if they prepare themselves the same way in their training, they're able to kind of get that same routine going and the same intensity level going so that it doesn't feel different, right? And one of my favorite quotes is from a former Navy SEAL. He says, under pressure, we don't rise to the level of the occasion, we sink to the level of our training.
Yeah.
And I think that is very true. I mean, some people are just like freaks and they can figure it out. But
Yeah.
that also is, they figure it out because they've done it in their training. And
Yeah.
so I think for everyone that's watching this, if you can kind of keep that in mind, and I know it's late now
Yeah.
because the Open's right here, but over the course of the next year as you do sanctionals or other competitions, it's something to think about in your normal training. How do I prepare in competition? How do I make this training very similar in like the way that I'm eating, the way that I'm preparing, the way that I'm warming up, so everything's the same?
Yeah, I mean, I think that is just, it's a mind state situation. Because you know that the sport is kind of chaotic, it's uncontrollable. They change the rules every year. They change the standards of movements that we do every year. So you have to have some sort of a mind state that's flexible enough to adapt to those situations on the fly, but rigid and repeatable enough that you know what you have to do if you're racing with fitness movements.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah, but that's it's a tough thing to cultivate. I think the people that have cultivated the best have just been the people that have been in it for the longest period of time, dealing with and navigating and continuing to excel. So I think there is just something to say with, if you enjoy this and you want to be good at it, set a mind state that you have a completionist approach to it, where you're just putting yourself in those situations over and over and allowing your mind and your body to adapt to it and figure out how to get the best performance out of it.
One of the talks I did at a competitors camp we had last year, I just talked about the differences in like mind state and when you're doing like kind of like some self-talk in a workout of like keep going versus don't stop. Right, and if you're in that mindset of like, don't stop, don't stop, don't stop, all you're thinking about is stopping the workout and the pain and everything else. And I get that, I've been there, right? Like, so for everyone else that's in that situation, I understand, I empathize with you. But the reality
is my favorite thing.
Yeah, stop. But the best again are trying to find ways to navigate to finish and finish well. So like that's the idea of like keep going, because then my mind is focused on how do I finish the task at hand. And little tricks like that I just think allow us to kind of stay in a more positive mindset like you're talking about. And also it kind of allows us to kind of focus in on the things that we control, which I think is extremely important because everyone is always thinking about, well, this workout came out and I don't know why they would do it and this is stupid. This is something I heard after the games, like, oh, the selection was so dumb. And it's like, we know that for the most part, the selection was pretty similar to what we've seen in the past. And even if it's not, like, that's the sport we're in. Everyone wants to brag about being constantly varied, but then they get upset when new stuff comes out, right?
Or when the sport actually is constantly varied.
Right. So it's like, look, we chose this sport and we chose it for a reason because we love it and we love the variance of it. But the reality is that you have to be okay when some things come out that you may not be good at and just control the things that you can control. So what do you think on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's two things. There's controlling controllable variables, and the other is like dealing with things that are out of your control. For me, I have to walk this weird mind state when I am actually participating in the Open. As one is I'm actually trying to just be the best athlete I can be in that situation. And I'm not saying like I'm trying to win the games, or I'm trying to make the games or make a sanctional, because I know it's not realistic. But I am trying to say like, all right, well, here's my current level of fitness. I want to try to get the most potential I can when it matters under pressure, because I want to be walking the philosophy that I try to instill in athletes that I actually work with. And if I just go into it with a half-assed mentality, I feel like that's being very hypocritical. So I try to get my best out of it. But in order to do that, I have to separate myself from the coaching aspect of it. Because when I do see workouts, I am thinking about, what does this mean for the sport? What does this mean for Training Think Tank as an organization? What does this mean for each one of my athletes? Like, is this going to be good for them? Is it going to be bad for them? And then I have to take myself out of that situation and put myself into a mind state of just like, all right, here's the task. You have a body. Go through this task as fast as you possibly can. I think having that kind of simplified mind state that just puts you into the process orientation of getting the best score is super, super, super important. And I think the controllable variables are the simple things. It's sleep, nutrition, warm up, setting your camera and all of that stuff up appropriately. People like, they'll go into the open and then they'll get themselves all warmed up and then be like, oh, I have to video it. I didn't get my camera out. And then they spend 15 minutes getting their camera out, setting their camera up and cooling themselves back down. And I'm like, why did you do that? Like, come in, set your station up, get the barbell, everything that you want set up the way that it is, put your camera down, make sure you got enough battery in it, take care of that, then go somewhere else and warm up. Like, leave that station exactly how you want to use it, get yourself warmed up, then go out, film, get ready to go. And I feel like that is the controllables. It's literally in the execution or the process that you take to execute the workout that I think sometimes people don't focus enough on that. They focus more on, you know, the feelings, right? Like, even like, how do I feel before? I don't feel right. I don't feel, like, you can't control that. You can't control your anxiety or how you feel about a specific workout. You can only control your approach to it. So I think it's, you know, identifying what you control and then taking action on those specific things.
Yeah. All right. The more serious questions of the day.
Oh, no.
What is your prediction for the repeat this year? If there is one, but you have, like, assuming that there is, you have to predict the repeat.
My repeat prediction is that every workout of this year's Open is going to be a repeat.
Yeah, that actually was my prediction.
Oh,
so thank you for stealing that.
There's just too many coincidental themes, like the repeat shirt. Castro has been posting things about past workouts.
Wait, our repeat shirt?
Yeah.
How is our repeat shirt? But he saw our shirt and is it going to make them all repeat?
No, just the coincidence of the patterns coming up. Not that our repeat shirt. He saw it. Castro's
change all the workouts.
Yeah, they have a repeat shirt. We need to repeat them. Chris has been talking about 12.1 since he's been here, and Castro posted about
it since it happened.
Yeah, I know, but
let's repeat that.
Yeah. So I think 12.1 is going to be a repeat. I think that. I think the deadlift box jump workout could be a potential repeat. There hasn't been I wouldn't be really looking forward to that one. No, that was 14.3, right? Yeah. Those would be my two prediction repeats. Yeah. What about you?
All right. I text this to Mia, so Mia posted in the description or something. Yes. She asked me what the repeat was going to be, and I said I think it's going to be 5 repeats from previous years.
Okay.
And then she said, I didn't pick the one. She said, no, just give me one. And then I sent her the bar muscle up snatch burpee one, just because I knew that she hated that one last year. And she's like, no, Brannen, no.
From last year?
Last year, no. Burpee snatch, and then it went into the next 3 rounds.
Trav wouldn't be happy about that either.
All right, well, that's going to be it.
That was the hard question?
That was the hard question. Any last thoughts, Max, on people doing the Open, ways that they can obviously prepare the last day before we get an announcement?
No, I think really the only thing I always think about is just have fun with it or figure out a way to enjoy it. We had this argument in a staff meeting. It was like,
we need to be filming those.
Yeah. You can't have fun if you want to be an elite athlete. It's hard, it's painful. And I know that's true, but I feel like there needs to be some sort of process of finding some joy in this shit talk, in the leaderboard, and the humiliation and humbling that comes from not doing the best in getting exposed and figuring out training priorities and being part of a community. I think all that stuff is something that people should focus on, and I think it ultimately also helps people perform better. That's something I definitely learned from Noah, is that the more he can enjoy the process of doing what he has to do to excel as an athlete, the better his results are. And so then it's a really delicate balance it becomes almost like an art form of trying to figure out, like, how do I create progressions and make it really hard, but also try to find joy. So I think that should be people's target focus in the Open. I think that'd be the only, like, mind state thing, or maybe things that we can add to that. And then our content release schedule. So what are you doing with Kyle?
Yeah, so on Thursday night, the workout will be released. Mike and Mia are going to be doing a demo for us, and then me and Kyle are going to do our first thoughts video. So basically we'll go over points of performance, we'll break down the workout, we'll talk over Mike and Mia's workout, and then we'll just kind of give a basic warm-up, which will be in the description. And obviously all of that will be online at some point, either late Thursday or early Friday morning.
Cool.
Basically, it's just the throwdown.
Yeah.
It's the throwdown videos we've been doing, but we'll call it first thoughts of the Open, basically.
Yep, and then potentially something else that'll come out after that, but that'll be good to get people a good starting point for 20.1. Hopefully that'll give a good female demo, a good male demo, and some points of performance that they can execute on.
And we just added the competition manual to the website.
Yeah.
Want to talk about that?
Yeah, so we have an awesome competition manual that I know the coaches all have, so we'll send it out to our athletes, and then obviously it's on the website.
Trainingthinktank.com on the front page. Probably the key takeaways for that would be event planning, so that you could sit down and actually learn from competitions. If you do anticipate yourself being in the sport for a while, how do you go into a workout and evaluate it and process it in a way that you get better over time? There's a warm-up section. There's a recovering if you're going to.
Recovery is huge for those that are doing repeats.
Yeah.
And then there's also a review page too, which I know that we've sent out to athletes in the past that, and I know my athletes will be getting a Google sheet basically that they'll put all their splits in and transitions, but then it's also a way that they can review it themselves, because the way that we learn as athletes is to actually review and see what are we doing better, not just getting feedback from a coach. Doing both of those things allow us to get better at the
some
workout.
autonomy in the process.
For sure.
There's some nutritional stuff in there, some philosophy of competing. It's pretty comprehensive. I think it should help people just become better athletes in the sport.
Yep.
So check that out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you for the next 5 weeks with our throwdown / first thoughts.
It's a wrap, you know what I'm saying? Your boy Project Pata in this thing, man. Hey, look, man, thank y'all for watching Training Think Tank's YouTube channel. Y'all hit that motherfucking subscribe button, you know what I'm saying? So y'all go ahead, man. Thank y'all for watching the channel, you know what I'm saying? Hit that motherfucking subscribe button. Let it be known, what it be known, what it be known, you know what I'm saying? Pata.